I want to take a look at the Ultimate Guide to No Code Development 2023 edition, as per Bubble. Bubble put this article out yesterday. No, about 10 days ago, the 21st. And I'm curious to see what they have to say. I think we're all in the space craving a little bit of standardization, craving a little bit of what's wrong with my camera? It's blurry. There it is. We're all craving a little bit of, like we all have our own way of doing things, and I think that is, the creativity and the flexibility involved in that is comforting in some cases, but also it's just like there's just so much variability in the quality that you get and the knowledge that people have, that it's really hard to discern who's good at what. I always point out that, when people call themselves a bubble expert, I'm kind of curious as to what they mean by that, because there are a lot of areas of bubble, and there's a lot of those are all deep fields in themselves. So I don't know by what standard they are holding themselves to by calling themselves a bubble expert. I just don't know. So curious. I haven't read the article yet, um, and I want to just react to this and see what is the ultimate guide going into next year. We're almost in 2023. All right. The Ultimate Guide to No Code Development 2023 edition. Whether you're building an internal tool or a brand new app, internal tools or a brand new app, this guide will teach you everything you need to know about no code platforms. Now, I'm even interested that Bubble is not just speaking about Bubble, the Ultimate Guide to Bubble in 2023. They're talking about no code in general, which includes tools that, are not Bubble, right? They're just general no code tools. So I'm glad that they're kind of expanding into, acknowledging maybe some of these other platforms that are out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they say about them, if anything. Okay. So whether you want to build the next no code agency or you never plan on touching an editor in your life, there's plenty of reasons to get up to speed on the no code movement. No code platforms provide robust and intuitive alternative solutions to a dwindling pool of problems that until recently only software engineers could solve. Doesn't dwindling mean like reducing? A dwindling pool of problems. I feel like there's more and more problems every day to solve. With no code tools like Bubble, anyone can build powerful software solutions without coding, from hobbyists to enterprises to founders by night. Keep reading to learn how no code fits your next big plan. All right, let's skip this. What is no code? What does the manual say here? Revolutionizing programming is one of the most amazing opportunities of our time. Simply put, no code allows people to create software without knowing programming languages like JavaScript or Python. No code platforms like Bubble are democratizing software development. Now, anyone with an idea, and access to a no code app builder can bring their vision to life without hiring a team of developers. People from non-programmers or skilled software developers are embracing the no code movement. Yes, that is. I think that is true. I think if the goal or the mission of Bubble is to democratize software development, I think they've achieved that goal already. I really do. Has it replaced code? No. But I think that democratizing software development is more powerful than replacing code. I don't think we should ever strive to replace code. There's always going to be a place for code. I think the less sexy way to say it is like minimizing when you need code or when you need custom code. But again, that doesn't fit nicely into a headline. It's not a marketing. It's not a marketing. Doesn't work well for marketing. All right, a brief history of no-code tools. Visual programming was a key predecessor of no-code development platforms. Visual programming made it possible to interact with computers through graphical user interfaces instead of strictly through text and code. This advancements cut the amount of work needed to construct new apps, bringing development times from months to weeks. All right, so getting into the history here a little bit. The history of no code. Allowing people to learn with visual cues led to the development of what you see is what you get. Editors in the 1970s. WYSIW. I don't know. Like, what a bad acronym. Like, how do you say this? It doesn't. All right. It doesn't, like, I guess it shortens this, but all right. WYSIWYG editors allow users to see the finished form of a document or multimedia project as they work on it in real time. Microsoft Word is a common example. Wow, really? Microsoft Word was considered a what you see is what you get editor? Interesting. The rise of the low-code solution was the next step towards contemporary no-code platforms. Low-code tools offered more visual, modular components for developers because low-code is a solution like OutSystems emerged to save developers time, making their components interact usually takes knowledge of one or more programming languages. A movement for no-code solutions. Bubble app Monitor My Refi monitors your loans and alerts you when refinancing opportunities arise using the Sparklight plugin. Cool. We did a session a couple weeks ago with the Sparklight folks. Monitor My Refi. Why do I know who's built that? I feel like I do. Monitor My Refi. I'm pretty sure I know that person. Whatever. From programming with ones and zeros binary to today's no-code solutions, boiling complex problems down to digestible components has been a basic building block of computing. No-code elevates those components to shorten the gap between human logic and computer logic. That can look like a tool for making customizable finance dashboards without code, or a tool for building a Web3 app without code. You get the idea. Look at this one. I like that they're giving real examples. This is a very pretty Bubble app. I hope this is built on Bubble. The number of ways we solve technological problems is growing exponentially, and no code is at the forefront. No code leaders are advancing programming to a point where the lack of coding knowledge or time isn't a barrier to creating powerful software. Bubble founder and co-CEO Emmanuel Strachanov is thrilled to break that barrier. Revolutionizing programming is one of the most amazing opportunities of our time. Why no code? Everyone can build software faster, full stop. People from seasoned software engineers to total newcomers benefit from the speed and flexibility no-code platforms offer. As a result, there are tremendous benefits for business of all sizes. Many startups build products with no-code tools because it is a cost-effective way to develop a minimum viable product. Enterprises continue to use no-code and low-code solutions, with 60% of custom apps coming from outside the IT department. Really, where is that happening? Report of 60% of apps are built outside of IT as of 2017. Interesting. Wonder how true it is. Teams of individuals save time and money while delivering a product. Even founders who know how to code still choose Bubble. That is true. I definitely had a number of people come through the boot camps, and just people in general that I know who know how to code but choose Bubble because it's faster, more efficient to learn for the idea that they're building. Expanding the pool of programmers to include everyone who can learn no code is a massive form of economic empowerment and will let a lot of people participate in creating the future who would otherwise have been shut out, says Bubble founder, co-CEO Joshua Haas. Joshua, it's good to see a quote from Joshua every once in a while. We don't hear. I mean, we see the updates, but that's like the only form of communication that I have that I know from Joshua. So it's good to see Joshua getting a quote in here, not just Emmanuel. They are co-CEOs after all. No code can benefit everyone who has a software idea. Develop a prototype or MVP in a matter of days. Compared to text-based coding, this certainly is reading more like an article. I know that's kind of what I expected. But when I think of the ultimate guide to something Bubble related, maybe I've been spoiled by Peter Amile's Bubble Ultimate Guide to Bubble Performance and Ultimate Guide to Bubble Security. But this is this is an 11-minute read, while those are very, very much longer to get through. There's a lot of dense technical information in there that requires full attention. This is a good article, but it's it's very different from what Peter has put out. Again, maybe it's just the title. That's kind of why maybe was expecting something a little bit different. Okay, compared to text-based coding, the best no-code builder, app builder, can take you from an idea to finished product much more quickly than what? The process often starts with building a functional prototype. Creating a static prototype has limitations, as actually coding a prototype before testing your concept can be a huge waste of time and money. No-code tools are reducing this risk. Very true. They make it possible to start with a prototype and gradually turn into a working product without timely handoff between designers and developers. With no code, more stakeholders can work on the prototype or MVP together. Yes, I suppose that there is truth to that. But there is also, like, you definitely have to be very coordinated between work efforts. Save up to 100% of the 100 times the cost of traditional app development. The average salary of a full-time developer in the United States is over 100K per year. Depending on the app, one developer won't be able to do the job alone. That means that building an app with traditional coding requires an entire team of employees who all command high salaries. Building software with teams of developers is wildly expensive, which is why so many tech companies burn cash at such a high rate. You can try to get outside funding to keep up with your expensive payroll, or find a way to keep costs low. NoCode Solutions provide cost-effective alternatives. There are two key ways businesses might realize the cost savings of no-code development compared to traditional development. Non-technical people can use no-code solutions to develop apps without any help from programmers. This means that a founder can develop the technology for their startup idea without hiring a team. Alternatively, a team of non-technical product designers can bring their idea to life without the support of a team of developers. Technical employees can get more done. Often a business will still have one or more programmers on staff, and a no-code solution can help those developers get more done faster, keeping costs down and helping the business release software faster without hiring more engineers. Because of the cost of traditional app development, the tech stack is one of the primary considerations when determining how much it will cost to start a business. What am I thinking here? I'm trying to think. I have a thought here that I've not fully formed yet, but it's coming to me. I don't know if this is doing much for the the idea that no code is cheaper, faster, and easier, and everyone can do it. I think we're trying to dispel that and be realistic about how the effort that goes into just because you can build. Yes, this does make development faster and easier. That's certainly true, but there's still a whole business to build around, and there's I've talked about before how the message of fast, cheap, and easy can be misleading, and I think sets a lot of wrong expectations for people who are approaching this the first time. So I'm looking for some mention of that here. More collaboration between teams, fewer dependencies on engineers. No-code tools also reduce the burden on engineers and help to cut costs. Development tasks can be delegated more strategically with designers and non-technical employees able to do some work, so engineers and programmers can save some time and effort for the tasks that no one else can do. This fosters a natural alignment between business, product, and technical teams. Feedback loops are tighter because there are fewer handoffs. Iterative feedback makes teams more agile and efficient. All right, higher efficiency for no code is the future of programming. Wait, I've heard that many times. I hope it's true. It's expanding the limits of citizen development and giving people without specific technical knowledge to create apps. It's also saving engineers a ton of headaches and providing similar utility to low-code tools for building and customizing software. Joshua has put it best. Ooh, another quote from Joshua. Being able to throw together user interface in minutes without fumbling over CSS, delightful. Banging out some business logic without worrying about where the data lives and tripping over syntax, amazing. Never having to write CRUD logic across multiple layers of the stack ever again, paradise. All right, explaining the top misconceptions about NoCode. All right, here we go. One of the biggest misconceptions about NoCode Solutions is that they eliminate the need for programming. Okay, here it is. This is what I was looking for. However, GitHub CEO Chris Wenstrath pushes back on the idea that programming is all about writing lines of code. Programming isn't about typing, it's about thinking. Very true. In that sense, no code isn't much about replacing programming than streamlining it. Ooh, I like that. It's not replacing programming, it's streamlining it. But the tech industry is shrouded in no-code misconceptions. Below, we address the most three common ones. No code is limited. Many believe that no-code solutions are only for website development. For example, no-code website builders like Webflow, Squarespace, or WordPress is great for creating static web pages. Squarespace differentiates itself with great templates. Webflow provides more control to people without coding knowledge. WordPress is a steeper learning curve, but is ultimately more powerful. Ooh. While these are no-code solutions, people often think the no-code space is actually very diverse. Oh, wait, let me reread that. While these are the no-code solutions people often think of, the no-code space is actually quite diverse. The resources mentioned are ideal for building websites, but there are other no-code solutions that make more sense for more sophisticated apps. Even some who know about no-code app builders think these solutions are only suitable for lightweight apps. However, this is also a misconception. No-code builders have built everything from a payroll and time tracking tool. Who did that? I did that. Cool. This is a bubble app? Nice. To used over by 100,000 small businesses to a team engagement platform by elevating the remote work experience for teams at Google, Meta, and more. Sophisticated apps might require some support from engineers on top of a no-code solution, but no-code builders have been built all kinds of things without code. Very true. I like to see them finally addressing the misconceptions officially. Well, not officially. I'm sure Emmanuel has done many interviews where he's addressed these questions, but this is actually the first time. I'm surprised to say that this is the first time that I'm seeing it in a written format, in an article, because these objections are so common. You might have heard that no-code platforms aren't secure enough. This argument typically hinges on the assumptions that the out-of-the-box security no-code tools provides isn't reliable. This assumption is mistaken. The best app building platforms place a high emphasis on security. At Bubble, we know our users are building apps for business purposes, so we provide enterprise-grade security and scalability. For example, the founders of Hello Prenup placed a particular emphasis. I'm pretty sure Hello Prenup was the ones that were on Shark Tank. On security because their application involves sensitive legal documents. They appreciated that Bubble had already had the security fundamentals covered. Answers to privacy questions founders might not even think to ask are folded into Bubble's infrastructure. That said, not all app building platforms are created equal. If you have questions about security, governance, and related performance, I recommend vetting your platform with care. Myth number 3, no code is not a useful skill. No code tools make life easier for engineers and non-technical people alike. Learning to build with a no-code solution requires much less effort than mastering various programming languages. That is true. Moreover, putting the time into master no-code opens up opportunities for would-be developers who might have never entered the tech space otherwise. There are dozens of successful Bubble agencies with paid Bubble developers, and the hiring landscape is changing to accommodate the increased popularity of no-code tools. So if you're wondering whether no-code is worth the time to learn, per se, the answer is yes. That is true. I've been seeing a lot of different job opportunities, no-code agencies popping up, Bubble agencies, people specifically looking for Bubble developers to the point where now it's a job title, right? This wasn't a job title 3 years ago. Now people are actively seeking out Bubble developers, and they're all on Twitter. If you're wondering where to go, they're all on Twitter. Picking the right no-code tools. The best way to start using no-code is to pick a project and dive right in. Here are some of the ways people have successfully leveraged no-code platforms. Use cases for no-code app building tools. There are several great no-code app builders on the market. The choice often comes down to what you want to build. Bubble is the most powerful all-in-one solution. You can build or customize internal tools, automate simple tasks, validate your startup idea. The sky's the limit. You can even build other no-code tools on Bubble. Ooh, I wonder if anyone's done that. Notion helps you draft and organize your project ideas, notes, tools, and docs and wikis all in one place. When you're looking for a simple way to automate tasks for your job or in your everyday life, you can build a workflow in Zapier. Yes, they're all very true. There's other tools. They mentioned Webfloat before for static websites. There is Flutterflow for mobile native applications. Similar platform to Bubble. There's a lot of overlap in their terminology and in just the way that you interface or you interact with their interface. But it's definitely suited for more mobile native projects. But definitely a bunch of different ones there. All right, how do I start no coding? If you're still wondering how all this works, our Getting Started Key Concepts in Bubble course is the perfect primer. Ooh, good starting point. I didn't know about that one. You can learn about responsive design, data types, workflow logic, and versioning in Bubble. If you'd like more hands-on learning experience to our new Getting Started Building Your First App video course is perfect for you. You can get step-by-step instructions to build a project management tool and come out of the course with a working web app. There's even a template for you to build along with. If you're not worried about the learning curve but wondering what to work on, check out our list of no-code examples and our showcase page for some inspiration. You can come visit our ecosystem and see the plugins we have available, learn how to publish your own, and see what other people have extended Bubble. Awesome. All right, let's see what else they got here. Well, I actually kind of want to see what this list of no-code app examples are. What do they have here? Custom marketplace, social network, booking app, personal finance tools, community review sites, internal management tools. Wow. Okay, cool. They've got all of the they've got the different types here. It's good to know. And then the showcase page. I was hoping that this is a list of successful or Bubble apps that have gained some traction. Good gigs, income. No code apps. Oh wow, they are listing these here. Cool. Zero code, switchboard. I know switchboard. All right, so they are kind of listing these out. Let's see, what do they say on the detailed page? Yard Guru. That's a link to the Nigel's app is here. No Codify, Think Confluent, No Code Founders. Okay, cool. All right, frequently asked questions about no-code. Let's take a look at this. I'd like to hire a no-code developer or agency for a project. What should I do? If you're looking for someone to help you build your app or accelerate your startup development, you can submit a request for a proposal to the no-code agencies and developers from around the world. I tested that a couple of months ago. I don't know if it's improved, but there's still a lot of spam both ways. When the last time that I did that, they did revise it, and I think it minimized some of it, but there was a lot of spam, a lot of auto responders, which is not something that you want when you're trying to vet a agency or developer or project from the other side, because it's it's a big waste of time. It's very hard to distinguish one agency over the other when they're all responding with, "Hey, we're an awesome no-code agency. Here's 3 of our projects. Book a slot on my calendar." You don't want to do that 500 times. I don't know if they've changed that since, but that was a problem. Why would I want to hire a no-code developer? Some people are committed to the benefits of do-it-yourself approach, which no code is a great fit for, but others choose to hire a no-code developer to get the benefit of no code without personal learning curve, including a faster development cycle, easier to maintain tech stack, and lower cost compared to traditional programming. It is true. I think that when you're considering whether or not to do it yourself or hire an agency, you really have to think about the time commitment that you have to this. If you, and again, I want to call out here that like building the actual application, like building it, is a very small part of getting it in front of people, getting people interested, and figuring out a sustainable business model around your idea. So there's plenty of other work to do. The build is almost like not, I wouldn't say the least important. It's 30% of the effort that you're going to need to put in overall. And then there's everything else. So you got to be very careful about how you spend your time. If you're going to be in these endless development cycle, you're really not going to make much progress on the business idea because you're just constantly focusing on the development part, which has problems. So working with a developer or hiring a developer to do it, well, of course, this is, could be, you might have to have a budget for that. But hopefully that you'll get to that point where you are generating some revenue for yourself, and that will sustain your development costs. I think that's probably like the ideal situation. It's difficult to achieve, but definitely more of a chance of you sticking with it if you're managing the feedback from users and focused on getting people interested in the app idea and communicating what you're building, and you have somebody else who you trust worried about the development piece and actually building it. It's definitely more likely that you're going to stick with that as opposed to just. I think the thing that will keep you interested or keep you going with it is that you are getting feedback and people are interested and you are seeing some kind of progress, because it's very easy to trick yourself into thinking that like building features is making progress. It's really not. Unless people are using them and asking for them, it's really kind of like fake progress that you're telling yourself is important at that moment, which is a trap that all of us fall into. We've all done it. So it's an easy trap to fall into. I've done it myself, and what the effect of it is that you just kind of lose motivation to keep going because you're not really focusing on something that's making an impact, or you can like it feels like no one's interested in what you're building. So, and development cycles, it's a very slippery slope. It's easy to get locked into. I'm a no-code agency, and I'd like to hire freelance developers for my no-code agency. Where should I look? The most straightforward place to find the no-code freelancer is to check out the Bubble forum. Twitter. I'm going to call out Twitter here. There's a bunch of no-code. There's specifically Bubble developers on Twitter. There's a lot of them there, and they're looking for projects. It's never bad advice to consider hiring a smart and creative people looking for something new and turning them into no-coders, from artists to filmmakers to designers. Finding your next Bubble developer can be as easy as guiding them through the learning curve. Wait a minute, let me read that again. It's never been bad advice to consider hiring a smart and creative people looking for something new and turning them into no-coders. Wow, that's an interesting approach. Like somebody who doesn't have experience with Bubble, hiring them and then turning them into it. But I'll definitely agree that people that come from those kind of backgrounds, the creative backgrounds, are definitely like they definitely come in with a or anywhere, just like someone who was like didn't consider themselves in the development space, or a programmer or anything like that. They're coming in with a wealth of knowledge and very different from the way a traditional coder would approach problems, for better or for worse. Like it is. I've just never heard it called out in this way. I think it's pretty interesting that they're saying that. Can I build my specific app with no code? Aside from some highly technical edge cases, yes, you can build most web apps with no code. There are even no-code platforms powerful enough to build other no-code platforms, and Bubble is one of them. Has anyone done that? Has anyone built a no-code platform with Bubble? I suppose marinas that where you can build your own website or your own, was it a website or like more of a sales page? I forget. I don't know how to explain. I'm going to butcher the explanation. But I guess that's kind of considered a no-code tool, which she did. You can also use no-code tools to highly customize web apps, internal tools, and everything else you can dream up. Can no-code scale with a lot of users? The infamous question. The best no-code tools are equipped to handle high signups and login volume. Every Bubble app has a built-in user data type, and some Bubble apps currently have hundreds of thousands of active users. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. They put a number on it. Whether you want to build a global marketplace, social network, or an internal tool for growing a team, no-code keeps up. Yeah, Bubble definitely keeps up. I think that hundreds of thousands of active users. I think the thing that's not really being said here is though, like how you build your app is important to supporting that volume of users. You have to have efficient search queries. You really have to, not just you may have built the app for your first 100 users, and you need to change a lot of that as you reach scale or as you start scaling. Efficient ways for handling those user actions, you're going to need that. So yeah, it is it's possible, certainly. And they're not saying that here that they're not misrepresenting the platform by saying that yes, it scales, but you do still need to build for scale, as with any app. Like that's anything, anywhere, any product that you're building, is going to change as you start gaining more and more users. Your backend is not going to look the same with your first 100 users as it is going to with 10,000 or 1,000 or 1,000,000. How does Bubble handle my data security securely? Bubble is built on Amazon Web Services, which is compliant with certifications such as SO2, CSA, and ISO, and more. We use automated code testing, vulnerability testing, including OWASP and top 10, and continuous monitoring technologies. When Peter Emili put out the ultimate guide to Bubble security, he made an excellent point in that we as Bubble developers are also responsible for the security of our applications in its base form by just setting up privacy rules, right? Like just Bubble really couldn't make the security of the app much easier than what they've done. You have to set up your privacy rules, and those are a pain in the ass, of course, but doing it proactively from the beginning when you start building, I think, is like the best way to not have to go back and break things. And leaving your privacy rules to the end, which is a habit that I'm trying to get out of, is a good practice. Leaving it to the end is a bad practice, I should say. Kind of setting up privacy rules as you're developing is a better practice. But who gets the bad name if Bubble apps are left insecure and privacy rules are not set up? Who gets the bad name? Is it Bubble? Is it the developer? Are we distinguishing between the Bubble developer and Bubble itself? I mean, it's up for that's a perception that is going to have to be dealt with at some point, because like if somebody builds an insecure Bubble app, it's not really Bubble's fault that they did that. It's the developer. The developer has the responsibility of maintaining the privacy of the data. Bubble gives you that flexibility, but you have to treat that with some respect and really make sure that your data is protected. And there's a few ways to do that. Okay. We use AWS RDS's AES 256 encryption to encrypt the data at rest. You can see for yourself the encryption we use for data in transit for issues surrounding the General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, big in Europe. We have tips for making sure your app handles your own users, data, and privacy rules securely. If you're looking for an enterprise solution, our sales team can tell you more about our dedicated plans, which features isolated hosting, region-specific servers, enhanced reliability, and more. I didn't even know that that dedicated plan was an option until very recently. I had a call with the one of the sales reps, and she was trying to figure out, different ways to position it. I think the biggest selling point, specifically for Europe, companies and startups based in Europe, was the isolated hosting or the region specific servers. There are rules. I think part of GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, is that the server needs to be in the European Union. And Bubble on any other plan, you're not able to choose and select where that server lives, where that server is hosted. But in the enterprise plan, you are. It was expensive. It was like, I think it was like to the tune of like 3 or 4 thousand a month. So obviously, kind of out of budget for most would be startups and people who were testing a new idea with a very limited budget or building it themselves. But for larger scale companies that need a dedicated plan or dedicated server for for their project, that would be an option. But again, they don't advertise it that much. I think they're just starting to roll it out or make mention of it. I think it's been out there, but they really haven't pushed it that hard. I keep hearing about the no code movement. How do I join? You've already done most of the work. Sign up for a free bubble account and join our forum. Okay, so there's a lot of good information in here. I like that they've kind of they've pointed to a few use cases, the showcase here, and um there was another showcases. There was another page that they had in here somewhere, but they've done a good job here of summarizing, why, speaking to some of the objections that I think we hear quite often, and why is this a better way to approach testing a new idea or building software, and there's only so many different ways that you could say this stuff, right? I feel like I've been repeating myself for as long as I've been doing the stream. Um, and it's cool to see that this is, Bubble is releasing this information, in a blog format. But it's just like, when will we need to stop saying this? Like, when will this kind of be accepted? Like, what's it going to take for it to be accepted as a viable way of, or the default way of creating software? Like, what's it going to take for that to happen? Do we need that? Do we need that hit single that just blows up? This very household app that everyone's just using, and people find out it's built on Bubble, and then Bubble is just the go-to way to do things. I'm just so curious about what that spark is going to be, where because I feel like Emmanuel has been answering these same questions since 2017, and it's got to be. I got to imagine it's frustrating for him and the Bubble team to keep having to respond to the same objections. Certainly me. Like certainly, like when I'm talking with clients or prospects or just people who are just generally interested in the space, they all have the same questions coming in, and I just don't know what to do outside of explaining the problem away or speaking to their concerns. I just don't know if there's any other thing I could be doing to kind of, like get us over that, get over that hump. There's so many people that are just convinced that, like, I will need to move off of Bubble at some point. I will need to. And maybe that's true, but that's true for a very specific use case, and really you shouldn't be thinking about that so much now when you're just getting started building your idea. See how far you get, at least. Like, you're not going to pick the perfect code, even if you're custom coding this application now. You're not building for scale just yet. Like, you're just building to see if you have an idea that can be that you can learn from your users on. So why not do that with something that's a little bit more cost efficient, that's faster, that you can change yourself and not have to rely on somebody to do for you. So all of these, all of these things are questions that have come up and continue to come up. So again, I just wonder what that thing is gonna be, where these questions are, those concerns are no longer. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. All right. Thanks for joining. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully 1 p.m. Eastern time. Jump in with your questions. I'll catch you tomorrow, the Rad Stream. Thanks, everybody.